Hi everyone, and welcome back to Lupini Builds. This is a continuation of our series where we are building a little Cessna 150. What I have on the table today is an example of my previous work that I wanted to show you some of the items we'll be doing today and explain why we go about that process. So this is a Bearcat. I built this a while ago. Beautiful aircraft, all done in brass and copper. And so what I wanted to explain was that when I designed the fuselage of the aircraft, this part over here, all these parts here, I normally start with the backbone of the aircraft. So I normally do a profile of the center line of the aircraft all the way to the back, right to the tail, and then I hang the cross members across here. The cross-section members that we spoke about in the previous one. So on this aircraft, you'll see then that gives us the basis to put all the longerons are and the other detailing ribs to form the final product that will turn into an aircraft. So let's continue with our build. Hi, and welcome back to Lupini Builds. This is Luigi, it's me again, and I'm going to be continuing with our little build on the little Cessna. You remember that last time when you were here, we did the wings, we created the wing profiles. Here they are, it's ready to go. This is the one wing profile we have, and now, as we said, once we've done that part, we want to start doing the fuselage. And to do that, very similar to the previous one. So I'm going to have a look here. What I see is that the nose of this aircraft, has a particular shape here. I need to create that curve. And so to do that, I go into my little box that I have on the side here, where I have a number of props that I can use. But that's quite a sharp curve, so I'm going to use something that I have, for example, like the handle of this brush looks like the right curve for there. So I'll take this piece of wire, and I'm going to go to this piece of wire like that, and I'm going to create the curve on here that looks like that. So you can see I've created a small curve there. It looks like that. And now we're going to marry that onto the drawing and see how it looks. Wow, surprisingly good. It's got the right angle. It needs to come down a bit over here. I'm going to cut this. Let me just see. I want it to go along there, and I want it to go up there. So I'm going to cut it round about here. Remember to keep that little piece on the side. So I've got the nose that goes in there. I want that curve to be a little bit better than that. So what I do is that I'm going to line up the roll with as best as I can, but you can see that the brass wire goes this way and the fuselage goes that way. So to verify that, I press on there hard with my fingers, and then I bend it. Now you can see that it's followed that shape, look. Okay, brass wire is pretty easy to maneuver like that. I want it to come here, and then it looks like to me that from here, it cranks up to there like that. So, there we go. I've kind of created that profile. To keep it in place, I'm going to put some nails here so that I can just make sure that it stays where I want it to stay while I'm doing work somewhere else. So that piece stays there. I'm now going to put another one over here. That looks fine. Let's put that one in the crank joint here. Okay, and now that's going to go up there. So I want to keep this from running away from me. So I need to put one over there. Okay. Okay, good. Line that up nicely. I see that it's gone up there nicely, right? I'm now going to do the same here. So you'll see that all the time, this type of operation is not dissimilar or not much unlike when you're actually building a model in balsa wood from scratch. So now I've got that line, it comes up there, it goes there. I now see at the end here that it turns up, and I want to use this piece here to go up the tail. Up the tail. So I'm going to press with my finger, create the turn, have a look, create it again, have a look, create it again. There we go. Look at that. Lines up perfectly, all the way across and up. Leave that excess there. Don't take that away. We can always trim that back later. Now what we want to do is do the one that goes across the top of the aircraft. So it's going to go now from there, and we want to follow that line, that profile, all the way up to the tail. If you remember earlier on, I pointed out to you that this aircraft has the fillet on the tail that runs forward. Now that is that piece over there. So once you've laid your brass wire across the nose of the plane, up over the top wing, down on the fuselage, and up to the wingtail as I've shown you, then all welded in place, you end up with something that looks like this. This is now the profile of the aircraft. You can see that it's all there. If I put it on here, onto the drawing, it kind of disappears because it's on the line, but it's right there. And so from here, we're going to start doing the sections and get those up into the fuselage. Hi, and welcome back. We're going to be continuing today. As you remember, the last episode we did the wings of the aircraft. We made a wing, which we copied onto the drawing you see below here. We welded it. So we have one of the wing supports already made. So I'm going to put that aside. And today I'm going to show you how we continue to carry on with the rest of the aircraft. What I have here is the fuselage, which I've done between recordings for you to see, and basically similar to like we did in the previous one, the outline is perfectly matched to the outline of the aircraft you see here. So it's important to keep that always in clean, easy, sharp proportions, and to make the rounds and curves where they occur on the real aircraft, and make the sharp turns where they occur on the real aircraft. Those points at the top of the tails are normally quite sharp. The bend in the middle of here is quite accentuated, so it's sharp. And there's the famous wing root fillet we spoke about in our first episode. So once this is done, this is what we're going to call the backbone of the aircraft. So if we look at the aircraft from the top, the drawing that showed us this one here, this line fits exactly in the center of this aircraft. See it there? And that's how it fits. So this line here represents a line right through the center of the aircraft. This is going to give us the basis to work off. So we're going to create the profiles that go around these particular areas in accordance with how these slices were shown to us on this drawing over here. So these are little viewpoints of a slice through the aircraft. They're numbered 1 to 8 or 10, I think they are, and they cut through the aircraft in these spots here. Always try to get a drawing that highlights those things. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make the first profile that goes on the nose, and then I'll continue all the way down to create these profiles, and then I'll show you how we hang them onto this frame one by one in the same position as they appear on the drawing. We have to mark them off. So with a caliper or a very accurate ruler or even a vernier, you measure from the front of your model to the back where that first line appears. You make a mark on the nose of the aircraft, and that's where you hang the first profile, and you weld it in place. Perfectly level, plumb and true. And so we're going to go on all the way down. So if you'll stand by, I'll continue doing that, and we'll join up again in a few moments. Thank you for watching. Hi, and welcome back. This is Lupini Builds, and today I'm going to show you how we're going to start to create these sections that go through the aircraft over here. So I've used a random size thing. It happens to be the handle of a paintbrush that will work for me. I'm going to guesstimate that the roundness that suits that one there is somewhere around here. I bend it around there, just simply pull it around, make it nice and tight. Right, roll it over a bit and cause a circle that looks something like that. Okay, I have a circle now. Now, we come back to this drawing over here, and I need to manipulate this piece of wire that is going to look like this section here. So to do that, I'm going to start on that corner there. I'm going to pull this piece down. So I'm going to just hold it there. So you can see if I place it there like that, that kind of matches that circle in the top part of the circle over there. So now I'll put my thumb on it, press it down quite strongly, pull that down, and pull the rest of the curve in line with that. So can you see now that I've matched that curve exactly, right? So now I'm going to mark it because I need to repeat this to make the other half. So to do that, I'm going to make a mark here and a mark here on the wire like that. Okay, I need to take that marking across to the back side so I can see it on both sides. Once that's done, I'm going to place this back here on this marking over here, and I'm going to create the next one. See there? So as you can see, I need to close that off and make that round, and I have the first section, which by the way is the nose of the aircraft if you're looking straight at the aircraft. So as this picture here shows you, this is looking at the aircraft right there. It shows the nose. Right, so let's just take that shape there. I'm going to memorize where it needs to turn. I'm going to use my prop again, and I'm going to create that one and that one. Now I'm going to go back here. Let's see how that looks. Not great. So I'll need to move it out again. Make it a bit rounder than I guessed it was, as well as the other one. So this involves a bit of manipulation and trying until you get it right. It is a small piece to work with, and some of them at the back of the plane are even smaller. I like to just press my finger on it like this, and then I maneuver it like that, and I make it come around to meet the shape that I want simply by forcing it to take the shape under my thumb. I know you can't see it from where you are, but you'll see the finished result as soon as I get it out of here. So it's going to look something like that. Generally, I try to make the joins appear at the top because that makes it easier for me to manage the size. Now I'm going to show you what happens now. We're going to cut this up here somewhere, and that gives me the little heart shape that you can see takes place like that. It looks like that, and it fits on there perfectly. And so I'm going to continue doing that for all of these and making them the same shape, mirrored. If you want to, what you can do is that you can go back to your drawing, go into a rendering program like Inkscape or even into Photoshop and copy that image, mirror it and then bring it next to it and draw the full one. So a number of ways of making that easier for yourself. If you know your way around those packages or programs, those apps, those are very useful to do that with. So we'll see you in the next little clip where I'll show you how we're going to start assembling these different sections of the aircraft onto our main backbone. So for example, this one is going to sit right here in the front, something like that. A bit difficult to show you, but it'll sit there something like this. Okay, difficult to see, but that way it forms a shape for me that I'm later going to use to put all the other longerons are to create the shape of the fuselage. So with all these things in place, we've got them one by one running all the way down the fuselage. We then string our brass wire across them, and we create the fuselage. It's really quite nice to see when it's done. So see you in a few mo's. Going to go back and get some work done. See you in a short while. Hi, and welcome back to Lupini Builds. So we've taken our fuselage to another level now. So I made all the bulkheads as per the drawing as we discussed earlier, and I've placed them in here. So the backbone now has all the bulkheads placed in order, and you can see that they're all symmetrical. Look, try to hold it for you so you can see it clearly, but they need to line up so they look like that, so that these now form the shape of the aircraft like that. So now the next step is we basically have the fuselage shape here. That backbone gave it to us. So I'll show you now how we can make it into a lined up fuselage. I simply need to put it into my holder. There we go. This gives me the ability to work, and with a free set of hands. Let me just set this up properly. So the first thing I'm going to do, I need to put one of these stringers in here that form the line of this fuselage. So I'm going to be just retrieving a piece of wire that fell on the floor here. There we go. Okay, so for this exercise, I'll show you now how we string it from the front to the back, and I'll use this as an example. So always what I tend to do here in the front, okay, is to let it overhang a bit. Maybe what I should do is I'm going to put this onto the black surface again so we can all see it better. There, I think that's a bit better. So now, in the front here, I'm going to let it stand out a bit longer because I'm going to need a bit of extra wire there later on to finish off that nose. So I leave a bit hanging over. Always tend to do this because it gives you the flexibility to use the excess wire, and if you don't need it, you simply clip it off and you leave it off there. So you're going to tack this in place here. So once that's done, we then pull that wire all the way as far as we can. You'll see it touches each and every one of those bulkheads that we put in. Keep it nice and straight and parallel with the ground, and let us see now that we weld the next one in. So I'll give you a view when it's complete so you can see it a bit better. Put the light over here. Let's weld every alternative one so I can come back and make sure that they're all good. Remember, you need to flux every joint. You see me doing that all the time. try to do tiny, inconspicuous welds. You can always come back and tack it up if it hasn't stuck properly. So there. So that's the one. The same goes for the back here. I leave that stringer long so that I can use the I can use it for tying up to the back of the plane. So we're going to cut that off there. So that's how that works. So if I take this off here, I'll show you now how this looks. So you can see straight away that the line of the aircraft now is starting to appear. You see? Look. So we're going to put on more of these now along the side here, following these contours, following the contours all the way back on both sides, and then that will shape and give our fuselage form. So at the moment it looks like that, and it's going to start taking shape so that you'll see slowly it looks good. So already, if I take our wing that we did previously and I can put it on here, you can see we have an aircraft starting to take shape. Look. Starting to look like something already. Good. So let me complete that and I'll come back in a few seconds with the next video. We can have a look and you can see how the stringers are going to form part of this beautiful little fuselage. Thank you for watching. I'll be back shortly. Hi there, and welcome back to Lupini Builds. I've taken the little Cessna model to another stage with a lot of the ribbing and lines put on along the fuselage length, as you can see. So what this does, it now gives us quite a decent little shaped fuselage that you can see has started to take shape, and all from that backbone and those ribs that we put in. I've put in the window line in the front here. You can see that the window now has been formed there, the front window, and the back window has as well. See if I can show it to you. There you are there. That round line is the back window. So looking at it from the front, you'll see that the proportions are all good. It's nice and straight, everything lines up, and the wing that looks, I've had to show you how the cutout goes. The wing's going to sit there like that. So our little aircraft is taking shape, and this is quite a small scale to work with. Normally I work in a larger scale. My models are normally about 300 millimeters to 400 millimeters long, as you can see here with this with the seaplane. So this length over here, this width of wing is about 350 to 400 millimeters, and that just makes it a lot easier to work with. We're going to get into a lot more details regarding the wing profiles. As you can see here, all the ribs on the wings have been created for this exercise so that it conforms a little bit to reality, and also to give the effect of the model being made as as a real aircraft. So it represents a lot of that as we go along. So for now, we're going to leave it here. I'm still going to put in the doors and a few other things I'll create on the side of the plane. And so I've got, with my drawings here, I can show you that the door line is over here. It's pretty simple. We're going to put the door line in here, and I'm going to, let me bring my little black screen back again. So the door line will come somewhere along here, and what you do is simply cut out the wires that you don't want. So you leave them there, like I did with the front windscreen. I've cut out some of those that used to go across here. These front two only go that far, and so it's creating this. I've overcut the wires, as you've seen here. These will later be bent to form the nose, and the tail cone at the back, these I'll bunch together uniformly at the back so that they all taper to one point and make it look like that end of the aircraft. Remember that aircraft have very sweet, beautiful flowing lines. Everything is aerodynamic. Everything has got a purpose. And so what happens is that at the back here, when you join it up, it's got to be neat and tidy. It must flow. You can see that these aircraft look like little fish in the sky. They're beautifully streamlined. They're well designed, and we need to respect that. And so we'll go along. I'll catch up with you again. We'll try and I'll show you how we do the tail plane. Very similar to how we did the wing. We simply lay it over onto the structure that we have here. We take the tail cone, which is this one, the tail plane, and we'll put our wires along here, respect that shape, and we'll create the actual flaps and ailerons at the back in this wire so that when we put it onto our plane, everything is there in one piece. Later on, we'll consider covering the wing with either a very thin gauze. I've got some nice copper gauze that we can put over there, or we can just leave it open and give it the ribs in the wings so we can create the effect of the wings. And we're going to do the landing gear and struts. It's all going to look great. So I look forward to that, and see you when we get together for the next one.